Hello. Hola. Hello. Thanks for joining. Hi, how are you? Hello, everyone. So I'm going to do a recap of the small video that I posted earlier today, just so that we know where we're going to go with tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Vanna White, Latina Loving Living Life. Also have a hashtag of DLG, Daddy's Little Girl. I'm an emergency management and homeland security major. Thank you for the love. Nice to see you all. Oh, it's been a long day. And it's only Tuesday, which means the week's only going to get longer. And that's okay. All right, I wanted to talk about staying strong today. Mantente Fuerte. And what exactly does that mean? It means staying strong, keeping you strong, keeping your strength, recalling events of each day, whether they're good or bad, improving each new day, never forgetting to pray, not getting tired when you're trying, not thinking that you cannot conquer your faults, listening to that inner voice that you have, being brave enough to obey yourself. Yesterday we talked about obedience, talk a little bit about God. Thank you. Hi, Jay. Oh, you like it, right? I know. And that's because it was like a 5-minute one, Jen. Those are always the best. Remember that we talked yesterday about being obedient to God, and I was just saying a little bit about I don't want to be obedient, I just want to agree. But I want to agree with what I believe in. I want to obey myself, know that things are going to get better, but only when you make them better. There was the little short poem that I talked about from Dr. Seuss. Wherever you fly, you'll be the best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all of the rest. Who doesn't love Dr. Seuss? We definitely got to start reading that more to the next generation. I want to ask God to forgive me for being sad when I have 1,000 reasons to be happy. You know, sometimes it's a little difficult to think about the landing on the other side. It can be tough, but those are the times that you got to push. You really got to make that emotion equilibrium very balanced out. Understand that you've been through every single hoop that you could possibly imagine just to be understood. And why? You know, I get so defensive at times, and I want to avoid that because it doesn't allow the full Vanna to come out when I get defensive. I shut down, I get quiet. I've done this quite a bit of my life. I yearn for this boundary of dissolution, and I need to remind myself to stop putting up these walls. What do I do when someone breaks my boundaries? For the most part, you're going to know when you did, because you're going to see it in my facial expressions. That's how it's been the majority of my life. That mouth, though, the words that come out of the mouth, it's almost as bad as the violence that we're experiencing in the world right now. We're going to get into that in this episode of Mantente Fuerte. Hello, Pamela. Thanks for joining. Please share so people can come on in. I would love to see everyone here. The 3 is going to turn into 13 to 30, if not more. You know, when my boundaries have been violated, what I'm working on is addressing it immediately and peacefully. It used to come out really bad when I would do that. I want to explain when a boundary is crossed, and I need for the other person who did it to understand why it's important to me. It took me quite some time to do this, and a lot of work to be consistent in enforcing those boundaries. I couldn't understand why I've been so alone the last year, why I was moved to the place that I moved to, why I'm in the job that I'm at, in the town that I'm in the home that I'm in, away from all of the people that I'm used to being around every day. But I understand that I had to do that to awaken the next part of my journey. Being in solitude sometimes, you know, has allowed me to stand firm in my limits, what I'm capable of taking in, processing, and what I'm not. I spoke out loud this year, and I promised myself that I'm going to ensure my boundaries are respected. I'm going to stay strong. And, you know, that means that I need to be consistent in several different aspects of my life, especially this one when it comes to boundaries. It's such a touchy subject. You know, I was watching the Netflix series by Albert Einstein. I adore him, by the way. His mind is something that I've always been intrigued by, are other people's mind. For those of you that are some of my best friends that are here and that are not, you're highly intelligent people. That's what attracted to you at first. I promise you. So Albert Einstein, he's that German theoretical physicist, and he's one of the greatest and most influential scientists, the father of the atomic energy. So the Netflix series even shows how he lived to regret figuring that out. E equals MC square, which I have hanging on my fridge. And I look at that every day. It's a little magnet. He used this word today, abhor. He abhorred everything that was going on with Hitler. Abhor is referencing something with regards to disgust and hatred. Let me use it in a sentence. I abhorred violence and feel deeply committed to reconciliation. You know, let's praise adoration and abolish war. Right? It's kind of a weird sentence. So he was a militant pacifist. He was willing to fight for peace. I had been back and forth on what am I doing and where am I going, and I just felt like giving up. Like didn't know where to go. I just wanted to run back home to where I was used to being because it was easier to be there. But no. I love when my mom answers the phone and talks me back down off the ledge, you know. And when I mean off the ledge, it's from jumping in my car and packing all my stuff, whatever I can fit in my Corolla, and get back home. The more and more things that are going on every day, it reminds me that I need to stay strong. Yes, definitely, Jen. I guess that's where I get it from. She's trained me really well. So just know if I don't answer, you can always go and bang on her door. Um, Albert Einstein talked about the world being poisoned with nationalism and that we were headed for war and that any kind of violence in the present state of the world is going to be forced into war. And organized force can only be opposed with organized force. And we saw that through many different times in our life. That series, I'm sorry, not that series, that show, if you get a chance to check it out, it's pretty great in history, especially with all of the things that are going on right now in Texas and in the world. Like I said, trying to stay strong. Mantenerte fuerte, por favor. I've had to understand that what I'm doing is because I need to speak up. I have this voice, just like Albert Einstein. I never let myself be told anything. I had a visit on Sunday with a really great friend, and they tried to tell me something super simple about the struggles. About struggling and about the path that I'm on, the things that I'm doing, what am I spending my money on. And it was another one of those times where, like Albert Einstein, I don't let myself be told anything. He talks about how time cannot be absolutely defined. Relative, it stretches and it shrinks. Hi, little queen. In order that the creations of our minds should be a blessing and not a curse to mankind is what he stated. He wants to know, how can we save mankind and its cultural heritage? And how can we guard Texas from any further disaster than what we're going through? And I have understood that where I'm at, the schooling that I've been through, the jobs that I've done, where I'm headed, what I want to continue to do, I've got to mantenerte fuerte. I've got to stay strong. I've got to be open-minded, because if I shut down and I get quiet, I'm basically only going to breed hatred for myself because I gave up, but hatred amongst all the other things that are going on in the world and going on in Texas. I wanted to start documenting the things that were going on, because these are the things that the next generation, if it's still here, are going to be taught. So I'm talking about Abbott when he enacted Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution, which gives right to every state to declare an actual war if they're being invaded. I guess that's how he feels at the border. Hi, cuz. Thanks for joining. Governor Abbott seized control of the border because Federal Border Patrol apparently was not doing their job. And this fighting border crisis, Biden told Abbott he better stand down. My feds need to be able to go in and withhold the law and do their job. I don't know how much backlash I'm going to get for talking about these things, but I know that when I talk, people listen, and I understand what my assignment is. The more and more I sit and I read into the Word of God, the more and more I sit and I read in history, I understand that if the U.S. has civil war, it's going to start with Texas seceding, most definitely. The White House is going to refuse to accept it, and in a close vote with Congress, they're going to declare war in Texas. U.S. troops are going to try to invade Texas. Texas citizens are going to take up arms and join the Texas State Guard in the fight. New Mexico is going to ally with Texas. Florida soon, and several other southern states will form the new republic. Might elect Donald Trump as the leader. Empty those Congress votes for war. Poverty is definitely going to rise. Rebellion's not going to be tolerated, which I saw a lot of in that series with Albert Einstein today, how they took out people. I could not believe the footage that they showed of so many teeth, like after they had burned all these body and bones, and what was left of the jaw. It was crazy. World economy is going to further collapse if this occurs here in Texas. I don't know if any of you guys think that Texas is about to go to war with the federal government. I think we might. I mean, this is how civil war starts, right? This mess at the border, it's weird and it's scary. But what's also weird and scary is today here in Austin that somebody was stabbed at the gym because they didn't want to get off the machine. I mean, here I am talking about this war in Texas and things that could be going on. Not the war in Texas, what could possibly be a war in Texas. I need to be very careful with how I'm speaking so as not to offend anyone. So I was going to go up to this gym today because I was going to attend this new class, and I was so tired I couldn't sleep last night. And I was telling my cousin, I don't know what happened. I couldn't sleep. I woke up, I went back to sleep. I woke up, went back to sleep. Now I know why, because God was protecting me. So thank you, God, again. I mean, we don't have a right to defend ourselves, whether it's in the gym or whether it's at the border. The federal government has said to Abbott, move out of the way, or we're going to arrest or we're going to fine you. How do you even fine someone like that once they've already decided to do what they're going to do? It's kind of like that person being stabbed at the gym. I mean, how do you feel safe going back there again? How do you take action on them? This is history in the making, you all. So if this is things that interest you, I highly suggest that you take notes, mark down the dates, the events that are occurring. These are the historical events that are going to bring changes. Those changes are going to happen. Texas has already been on a pathway trying to secede from America. It's been his plan for a while. And like I talked about yesterday, that this will probably be the first time we're going to have some voting, could possibly lead up to secession. I don't know, who knows, but these are the things that are going to tip our scales. It's very interesting to see what happens. If something was going to make it happen, I guarantee you these times are going to be the things that are going to definitely do that. One of the episodes about staying strong was believing in yourself, being consistent, like a compass, how that needle behaves in such a determined way, like Albert Einstein said. It behaves in such a determined way. Something deeply hadn't had to be behind these things, the things that we are. How are we going to behave? What are we going to do? I mean, something that I never really visited in my research is codependent personalities. And this goes hand in hand with remaining strong. This is going to be those persons that are usually lacking their own set of boundaries. Now, listen to this really clearly, as you may have this person so close to you, sleeping next to you, and maybe it's you that is this codependent personality. This is the type of person that allows their life to be influenced by others' needs. They usually feel worthy whenever they are needed by somebody else. My most important boundary to staying strong is that I am currently creating the woman that I want to be. So excuse me while I'm overprotective of myself and my time and my energy. I'm not the person that I used to be, and I am not afraid to tell people that I have changed. My boundaries, they look different than 5 years ago. That is facts. That's right, B. I mean, my boundaries look different than 10 years ago. My boundaries look different than a year ago. My outlook is so different, and I am not tolerating what I used to. I am walking this path of purpose and conviction, and let me reintroduce myself. I just want you to get to know me, the new me. Hi, Oyo. Thanks for coming back today. I want to stress how important it is to stay strong. I mean, when I am out of shape, yes, I'm out of shape right now because I am just getting back to working out again after a car accident. We're talking about Mantente Fuerte, staying strong. We're talking about some things that are going on in the world, things that are going on in Texas, your own self, how to remain strong, things that are going on in life. So, when I'm out of shape, I mean, I'm human. It happens. Even if it's not a car accident, sometimes I don't take the best care of myself. But being out of shape, somehow it leaves me so mentally exhausted. But then I get back into shape and I'm mentally strong and ready for anything that life hands to me that tries to derail me from whatever path that God has put in front of me. And to me, winning is staying strong in every aspect of my life. And that includes relying on God to ensure that this is the strongest muscle of my body. To me, winning is looking my best and feeling like I know that I'm winning all of the time. I want to feel that win. I don't want to feel lost. Yeah. Yeah, I've been out of the gym since June. I've just been back about a month now. And thank gosh it feels so happy because, like I said, that really does help with my mental health. Hi, Frida. In case y'all don't know who Frida Catlow is, she likes to come on the live too from time to time. Oh, thank you. Because TikTok made me buy those little that lifts your face. Apparently it's working. So thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. You got to try it, Jen. You know, I was going to start with the TikTok shop and putting stuff out there when you buy it. But I mean, if you don't grow, we're not really living. It's this thing that's been all over TikTok, and you can use it to lift your skin, clean your skin, remove dark spots, help with that puffy, dark area underneath my eyes. Ugh, I can't stand it. And next, I'm going to try that little flat iron that apparently takes off all your split ends. We didn't get to try that, B, when I was in Corpus. We're going to have to try it next time, whenever we're there. You know, staying strong in this society, it's difficult. You bought AirPods, and they're great for $5 in a bathroom scrubber. Ooh, yeah. You got to send those photos over. Man, the AirPods, I got a bit of those AirPods. I was just looking at the iPad that they have on sale. It was like $50. I was like, what? For a small little iPad? It was tiny. I thought it'd be great for my granddaughter. I thought she'd really like it. Oh, yeah? Well, there you go. Jen can post where she got them from on there. She says they're only $5 and that they're amazing. Excuse me. Staying strong. Mantente Fuerte is our topic today. You know, you got to keep asking. You got to keep growing. You got to keep evolving. Keep succeeding. Keep moving. Keep exploring. Keep loving. Keep shining. And for the love of God, stop hating. Right? Everybody has a different path. Everybody has a different goal. There's no need to be on the same path. There's no need to want what other people have. For a long time, you know, me and my cousin talked about wanting more, but yet we had a whole lot and we just weren't happy with it. Wherever you fly, you'll be the best of the best, and wherever you go, you'll top all the rest. Dr. Seuss. A reminder that society likes to place emphasis on attaining milestones, you know, when we're young. Let me tell you all that success is possible at any age in life. I mean, age brings such unique insights and different experiences, innovative ideas, smart solutions. Our age is going to lead us to a stronger sense of resilience and make us just even heavier committed to our goals than what we were when we were younger. It's allowed us to overcome challenges and prevail through those setbacks, navigate through tough obstacles. I mean, let's just keep learning and growing and evolving, creating new ambitions, following new passions, projects. I mean, the thing is that our personalities should always remain aligned with our goals. But personality kind of is something that some people would say you're born with. Some people would say that you create over time. I mean, I guess it's a little bit of both because we're not ever the same person that we were in day one. And I say that in relationships as well, that we're never the same person that we were when we started dating that person. It's always, everybody talks about the honeymoon stage, the honeymoon stage, the honeymoon stage, right? And then it stays that way for a month. Sometimes it stays like 6 months. Sometimes it stays like that for a year. And then it changes. I remember my dad always telling me that you need to know how to fall in love with the other person and who they become if you want to have a successful relationship. And I don't mean just intimately, but I mean also in our friendships, in our work relationships, our relationships with ourselves, with our friends, family, the public. Yeah, we definitely change as we age. Some people become wiser. Some people. Some people become crazier, and that's okay. I think I've gotten crazier with age, but I believe that I am able to let that crazy out in a different way. Yesterday, I talked about education and learning and growing, and that everything that I am doing, everything I'm reading, everything I'm learning, everywhere I'm going is because what I learn, I want to share that with somebody else, most definitely. I mean, be persistent. It's all about intelligence. So buena suerte to whatever you create. Just remember to stay strong. You and me both, my crazy is definitely not the same. Yeah, no, not at all. It changes. It changes with time, and it comes out in different situations, depending on what you're going to be and who you're going to be. Just remember to be yourself and stay authentic to you, because who you are is good enough. I honor me. I honor my joy and my happiness. I honor my pain. I honor my trauma. I honor my everything with each success and with each failure. She loves to say hi. That's what I was telling everybody. She's so big, but so small. Say hi, Frida. Don't be shy. Hi, Jen. Oh, it's her debut. I honor that child that I once was. And they're always right there with me. She's been with me all day. I honor the child that I once was, and I say that in inspiring others because one of the episodes that we're going to talk about in my potting is trauma. Trauma that I experienced as a child, trauma that I experienced in my life. But speaking on the traumas and how I have remained strong, it's beyond me how I've done it. But gosh, I knew it wasn't without God. Probably about, I want to say 5 years ago is when I first decided to go public with what happened when I was a child. And I was raised by a cousin, and it happened from the ages of 6 all the way into 11. And it wasn't like just basic stuff. It was like everything, like all the things that adults should be doing, I was doing when I was 6 years old. And going through that therapy was one of the toughest things that I've had to do in my life. I mean, also being a great Christian has been one of the toughest things. That's probably one of the hardest things I've had to do in life. But in that therapy, it combined, regular therapy that we get along with the following of the Word of God. And all she ever kept telling me in therapy is the world needs more people like you. Please find your amazingness inside and spread it as far and as wide as you can. She's like, honor your life. Please honor your life because it's extremely beautiful. And I think I said that in one of the videos that I posted, that it's a blessing in all of its forms. It really is. So in that same therapy, I also talked about going through my divorce. I talked about things that happened in the marriage. I talked about letting go of regret and guilt for ending that marriage, because that's not what you do when you're raised in a Catholic household. But when you just completely change yourself for somebody else, I am surprised I stayed that strong for 10 years. I'm proud of myself, but I'm also glad because that relationship taught me so much about myself, about my daughter, about the world. I told you all in that first video I made for Latina Loving Living Life was that we were not let off the front doorsteps of my house. Yes, Jen, the Kostner house, those steps that you walk up and down every day, they were my best friends for a long time because we weren't allowed to go off of them. People wanted to visit, they could stay right there on the steps and come in. So when I finally found the world, I went wild, I went crazy, I just let loose and did all these things that I didn't know existed. It is a safe place. Definitely a beautiful place. God, I love Costa. I miss it. Um, in that same therapy, I talked about losing one of the loves of my life. Oh, he was such a great person. Matthew Thiebaud, God rest his soul. He was a Corpus Christi police officer who died on duty. And we hung out quite a bit. But we never showed the world everything. There's a handful of people that know he and I hung out and dated. Not everybody. We kept it to ourselves because we both worked for the police department at that time, so we knew better. There were so many things that I had to talk about in order to release them and to let go. And I had to honor the fact that I went through that and that I made it through it and that here I am still. So again, with each good or bad, mantente fuerte, por favor. It's not easy to do, but I know that you can do it. After that therapy, all I could say was I didn't feel like I could be shaken anymore by anyone or by anything. I got to this point that in my life that if you're not a good person and you can't make me feel good with love and with life, then basically fuck off is how I felt. I don't know if I could say that on here or not, but I've heard quite a few people say that, and then I also realized that when you do F up and you know it, learn how to apologize, allow yourself to be human in that particular moment. Don't make lame excuses, because to me, it's not the mistake that you make, but it's whether or not you're willing to take responsibility. Hey, Mel. Whether or not you're willing to take responsibility for that decision that you made and then own it. I mean, you can't be who God called you to be and still keep all this same BS, all these same habits, all these same friends, all these same mind fucks, what you think. You got to improve each day. I told you that when I first came on, listen to your voice and be brave enough to obey yourself. Things are going to get better when you make them better. It's just time to be happy. The 6 human emotions. I encourage everyone to ride every single wave. We talked about that yesterday. We all experience fear, anger, joy, sadness, disgust, surprise. I think anger might be the most multifaceted because it appears as annoyance, right? Then it goes to this outrage, resentment, bitterness, stemming from this unvoiced anger or frustration because you don't allow yourself and those wounds from the past to heal, to transform you into someone that you're not. You're not your wounds. You're not your past. Some turn to the past to strengthen them. They think about how bright their future is going to be. And some succumb to that rage and they blame themselves and others, not realizing that anger leaves them bitter and not better. You know, Reuben Carter said, bitterness only consumes the vessel that contains it. And it's just time to be happy, because being angry and sad, overthinking just isn't worth it anymore. Just let things flow and be positive. Thank you for those who have joined. Thank you for those who have stayed. Remember that change. You're not the person that you used to be. And don't be afraid to tell people that you've changed. I'll reiterate again, like we did earlier, your boundaries are going to look different. Your outlooks are going to look different. You're not tolerating what you used to anymore. You're walking on a path of purpose and conviction. Reintroduce yourself so that everybody gets to know who you are. We talked about falling in love with the person in a relationship. They change every single year. But you're going to change too. You're going to change every year. So learn to fall in love with yourself. Go off. Get busy. Drive yourself to your own goals. Be that person who strives and achieves. And keep that beautiful glow while you're doing it. And don't forget to start your day with self-positive affirmations. Sometimes I forget to do that. My cousin and I were working on this 30-day affirmation challenge. Oh, she's grown so much. I can't wait to bring her on and interview her. Gratitude. Give yourself gratitude, because life's going to challenge you every single day. And some days you're just going to want to give up. Even though you feel like you're defeated, just always believe in your strength. Life can be tough, but you can be tougher, and I know it. I mean, there comes this time in your life when you're not healthy, like what we were talking about earlier. When I was talking about being out of the gym, and I was talking about, just getting back and being in for a month. Oh yeah, those interviews soon. It will last forever. So we're definitely gonna have to do that on a weekend when we don't have to work. We'll prepare everyone for that and make sure they set aside some good time for it. When I was talking about being healthy, it's not just healthy in the gym, healthy eating wise, but it's making sure that this muscle remains healthy. There comes a time in your life when you're not healthy because of workplace issues, because you feel empty, because you're having issues with your friendships, because you experience failure, you're having financial crisis, pressure in your career to choose where you're going to go, where you're not going to go. Are you going to stay here? Are you going to leave? Are you going to pick up a part-time job? Unfair treatment. Oh my gosh, that will make you feel so unhealthy. That has always been my biggest pet peeve since I was a little girl. I promise you, I hate unfair treatment. I hate for other people to be treated unfairly. And I very rarely use that word hate because it is so strong. But I truly dislike when people have unfair treatment. And that is why I'm here, pushing forward, ensuring that this Latina is living her life regardless. Here's some strategies that can help you face those challenges, help you overcome when you're not healthy in those areas that I just mentioned. Turn towards reality. Embrace your life as it is, first of all. You've got to do that. You've got to embrace where you are right now, because wanting to get to that next spot is the most incredible feeling, but the most overwhelming feeling that will knock you down and stop you from moving forward will be because you don't embrace where you are right now. Take your time. And like Angel's World said, practice gratitude. Stay close to your feelings because they matter and you matter. Stay close to those feelings, even the painful ones. We talked about that yesterday, Yo-Yo. Accept success. More importantly, accept failure. Everything and everyone is part of your life's journey. Every single person that I have met in my life, starting from Miss Coronado, my first grade teacher, to yesterday, the man that I met at the store where we talked for days. He was like, if you wake up and the day feels broken, we'll fall into those cracks anyways. Because those setbacks are the chances that you need to take your day back. I highly remember saying that to somebody. We encounter adversity. We're forced to think differently, but that can be such a powerful source of possibility. And remember that you're beautiful and handsome, gorgeous, sexy, smart, strong. Now it's just time to decide to be healthier, fitter, faster, stronger, more goal driven. Go up and I go down. I'm not always up, trust me. If you love me and you're still in my life, it's because you've seen me up, you've seen me down, you've seen me in the middle, you've seen me lost, you've seen me found, but I'm never bound. Did I just write a little poem? I'm definitely not ever bounded to one place, to one spot. There's no way. And don't wait until it's too late because you might not get another chance. Talking about therapy, what I went through earlier, those will be on a whole other episode when we talk about trauma. Seriously. Sorry about that. Frida gets excited from time to time. About a little over a year ago, I did face a truly tough time in my life, and I mentioned it a bit yesterday about losing my daughter's father. Again, we're going to go over that in the episode of trauma, but staying strong through something like that was extremely difficult for me. It still is a bit difficult for me, but I am learning to manage those feelings and embrace those feelings because you have to. You got to ride the wave of all your emotions. Mantente fuerte. Okay, stay strong is what you're supposed to do. I don't know why I just thought of this song by Snow in this part. She's like, because I got a little baddie and she texted for the yaddy. I don't know where that came from or why. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there. We're definitely going to talk more about the things that are going on in Texas. I am curious to see what our next move is going to be. I'm not sure if any of you follow all of the stuff that's going on in the world or in Texas at that. If you're joining from Texas, understand that there's a possibility that we could lead to secede and be on our own. I read about this when I was in school, and I was like, yeah, right, whatever. That's not how it was, but we were all on our own at once. I mean, we had to learn to be brave and patient, and I think that's what we're going to have to do with what's going on here. I'm not sure that everything as far as the violence that's going on in the world is because people are pretending to be brave or they are refusing to be patient. Just like the guy earlier at the gym that got stabbed because he didn't hurry up on the machine that he was on. Well, we're definitely going to continue to talk about that. I worry when I see the news too. When I was a 911 dispatcher for so many years, I never even watched the news for the city or for the world because I felt like I'm already working through everything. Why do I need to watch the news? I already know what happened in my city all night. I don't need to be here and I don't need to be listening or watching what's going on. I mean, for what? I just literally worked 12 hours with all of it in my ear. There was no need for me to sit there and to watch it as well. Being brave or being patient. If there is only joy in the world, I'll be brave for joy and I'll be patient for joy. it's like this darkness that haunts us, everything that's going on in Texas. They're trying to hypnotize us into staying one place. But each time that we're confused and we fight to find our focus, we feel like everybody else is happier than us. Everybody outside of Texas is happier. Everybody that is doing something different is happier than us. But let's talking about the trauma. I appreciate the benefits that I got from that trauma, what I gained. That came to me with surviving that, surviving the other times of trauma that I experienced as a child, as a teenager. Do I keep going because I'm in my 40s? I'm not in my 50s yet. But thanks to TikTok, it's working. Being brave and being patient will definitely lead us to hope. And all you need is just that tiny little mustard seed of faith, hope, giving you that ability to find your light in any darkness, especially when there is none, right? I am trying to find ways to create peace and to create happiness, not only in my life, but for others as well. Somebody asked me in an interview a few months back, like, what did I bring to the workplace? And I'll be there and I'll be cutting it up with you and pumping you up when you're mad about this and this and this and this and that. But you know what? As soon as I'm done, I'm going to bring you right back down. Let's find some peace and happiness, because just remember, staying strong is something that is a right. It's a privilege. Mantenerte fuerte, por favor. Keep yourself strong. Keep your own strength. What's meant to be yours is already making its way to you, right? Hola, Mr. Santos. I say that to you, right? What's meant to be yours is already making its way to you. And what was never yours is starting to flee away from you. With time, it's all going to make sense. But for now, better the confusion and focus on living fully in the present. And don't let your whole life be, oh, I'll be happy when, oh, I'll be happy if, oh, I'll be happy. I'm going to be happy now. I want to be happy now. I want to appreciate the now. I want to embrace the now. And nobody can be you. It's right. And nobody can make any of that happen. It's all up to you. And I want you to remember that yesterday reminds you just of how strong that you were. And today proves to you how capable that you are. And tomorrow is going to tell you how fantastic that it can be. You know, I know that I'm going to continue to strive for a gender-free world, a bias-free world, a stereotypical-free world, a discriminating-free world. A world that is full of diversity is beautiful. That's why I wanted to come to Austin, because I wanted diversity. Then I got here and was like, what did I get myself into? It's the same reason why I wanted the 911 job, because I was like, ooh, yeah, they're paying way more than the call centers that I'm working in. And then I got there and was like, what am I doing here? And why did that person just rob a store at gunpoint in my ear? Why am I listening to that? That was my first 911 call, by the way. But I definitely want to continue to strive for a world of equity, a world full of inclusiveness, a world where difference is valued, celebrated, a world where women's achievements are visible. Latinas, bring it on up. Let's see you. Come on. Latina loving, living life is exactly why I chose that. And as I mentioned in the first video that I posted, the hashtag has changed a lot. It's always been the Latina. It's always been the living life. But sometimes it was like Latina's trying to live life. Latina doesn't know if she's living life. Latina is doing something, living her life. But I've definitely grown to love living life. because there was some times that I wasn't sure that I wanted to wake up the next day. And there was some times that I decided that I'm done trying for whatever it is that I'm trying for. I don't even know what I'm trying for anymore. And then God came over me and made me this fiercely ambitious woman with unique viewpoints and an untraditional personality, walking through this world with this beauty that is uniquely owned only by me. And he also allowed me to recognize my strengths and understand that when I speak, people listen. He allowed me to challenge all those negative thoughts that I was having and to practice self-compassion for myself. But it also allowed me to have compassion for others going through those things. I had to learn to deal with insecurities. And again, like I said earlier, to embrace them. Mantenerte fuerte, por favor. Remember to be kind to you. It's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not that holds you back. I hope you feel beautiful every day. I hope you feel gorgeous. Que se mira muy guapo cuando se miras en el espejo, por favor. Dile eso a ti, that you are beautiful. I remember before moving to Austin and being invited to be this Latina Americana, joining in the Hispanic American movement for the Latin culture for the White House for education. And it was such an honor to have this American culture combined with my Latin roots. It was like most great people have attained their greatest success by just one step that went beyond their greatest failure. But some people don't even know because they give up. They give up before they fell, or they give up when they fell. And failure is only the end story if you give up, honestly. But the great success is always going to be there when you're persevering beyond even the most discouraging setback. Just give it all you've got. Mantente fuerte, por favor. Stay strong. It's one of the most enlightening phrases that I've heard in a while. You know, last year I was asked to become the hazardous waste and emergency response safety trainer for my job. It's called HAZWAP. To me, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Everybody else, like, what? It's HAZWAP. I just submitted those plans to the Lord, not knowing that later on it was going to take me back to my FEMA training that I had already done in Atlanta, Georgia. Not knowing that it was going to lead me back to continued certifications for my schooling, and now waiting to hear back in another position that is going to come through because I have submitted my plans to the Lord. You know, just want to continue climbing the ladder in my career, in my faith, in my family, in my friends, in this endeavor that I'm putting forth. Tons of energy. Whatever I have, I'll squeeze it out. Don't know how or why, but I'm going to do it and see where it goes. It's literally going to be at least one step closer on the ladder to those plans that God has for me. I am steady serving the public. I've stayed serving the public. Thank you, God, for allowing me to do that. He's so good to me. I know for me and my house, I'm going to just serve the Lord. I love Psalms 37:4, where you delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. Most definitely. Just remember that your smile, your hope, your courage gives that to somebody else. And in 3 words, I can sum up a lot of what I've learned about life. It goes on. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I haven't seen you in a long time either. It goes on. I'm glad you're here, Bobby. Talking about that death that occurred a little over a year ago, it took me a while to understand. And man, I was lost. I was so lost. I had just accepted, this new job in Austin. I was so excited. Like, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to rule the world. Well, I'm going to rule Austin, Texas, working at the city level for so long. Now I'm at the state level, hoping to work for the country one day, whether it's America or it's just Texas as a country, you know. And then boom, the next day that happened. It was crazy. Not easily does it go on, but it does go on. You got to try to find more opportunities for love and for laughter, regardless of any pain that you're facing. I knew that I had to get it together because if not, and I stayed on the couch every day, if I stayed sad every day, what was my daughter going to do? The same thing that I was doing. I see her and I look at her and I love her so much. Hi, Nancy. Thanks for joining. Regardless if maybe she's still struggling with it, I see that love in her face that made me happy as a mother when I was growing up. It was like the toughest days getting off of that 911 job at 7 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes she was there with me. We'd rush off, drop her to school, go home, go to sleep for a little bit, wake up, pick her up. She was like the most loved, the most light of my day. No matter what happened, I just remembered that. God, if I could just see her smile, like whatever had just went down in my ear for 12 hours on those 911 lines was going to feel so much better when I saw her. And so it's the same thing with traumas that we face. Mantente fuerte, por favor. Stay strong and try to find opportunities for love and for laughter, regardless of the pain that you're facing. It's always possible that the best is yet to come. I mean, your friends, family, acquaintances, stalkers, haters, enemies, listen up. Remember that when you smile, even as a hater, it can change someone's day. And in tune, you can change the world. And as my father said, I'd save the world one day. I don't know where I'm going and what that is, but be bold, be brief, and be gone. Don't rush to failure and don't rush to success. Have a good plan A along with an even better, decent plan B. I think I mentioned that yesterday. A boss that was recently over us. That's good. I mean, all you got to do is try. it's the truth. It's all you got to do is try. It's what my dad was always telling me, and I'm like, I don't want to try anymore. I'm done trying. I give up. I'm mad. I don't want to try no more. Same thing when it comes to love, right? I'm like, I don't want to try no more. Whether you're still waiting for your soulmate or you're hoping that you get another chance at love, or maybe you're going to be older in age finding love. Who cares? It's humbling to find someone that you love. It's humbling to find someone that you like at this time in your life, The main thing is to not hurry, because nothing good is ever going to get away. I mean, I wish I knew when I was younger that I was going to fall crazy in love with the perfect person one day, because I definitely would have saved myself a lot of personal drama. I know I was made for it. I know I was made to share it too, because I have tons to give. I mean, when you wait for your person, yes, you become your one true love. Timing's everything, no matter how old you are. When you find that person who's in the same place as you and they want to show up the same way that you do, it's the only way that relationships will work, period. You both have to show up the same way. You don't have to be the same person. You don't have to be the same personality, but you have to show up. And on Service Sunday, that's what we talked about. Remembering, repenting, and rekindling. Finding a best friend, someone that is on the same plane when they're ready to take off. When it comes to morals, what they believe in, or just the way that they look at life. I mean, that's the dream right there, The flower doesn't dream of the bee. It blossoms. And then the bee comes. The flower doesn't dream of the bee. It blossoms. And then the bee comes. When you find love later in life, you do it with all this wisdom of knowing what heartbreak is, yet you still continue to go forth. And all this piece of knowing who you are and what you want and what you will accept. And to say that this one person is going to wait a lifetime for their soulmate to come around, it's a paradox. People eventually get sick of waiting. So they take a chance on someone. And by the art of commitment, they become soulmates. Soulmates take a lifetime to perfect. Sometimes we're not even with their soulmates. I just said that to somebody yesterday. Love later in life sometimes is a little more satisfying than any other stage in my life that I've had, that's for sure. It's not just about partnering, but it's about building your fortune together. It's about sharing intimacy as two grounded individuals, because we all want to be loved. We all want to be appreciated. We all want to be cared for. We all want to have someone that we trust and that we laugh with. And these things don't change with age. Those are things that you want. So why should they change? Even if you're too far away from it, just know, I'd still wait here for you all of my life. Think about that, when you're waiting for your love. I'm highly thinking that everything that I have written for all of these episodes, all of these pictures online that I post, all of that's going to come into a book one day. It isn't just talent, You have to have something else to do it, Bob. You have to have that kind of nerve that you need to write a book. Same with doing this. It's not easy. I was a little scared. Even though I've been live, even though I post videos, I was nervous about potting it up and what it would be like, because that's where I want this to lead. Like I said, I feel like when I talk, people listen, and instead of looking at things, I want to look between the things. I want to find out what's going on around us and ask those hard questions. I want to stay strong. I want to, instead of taking things at face value, take a different view. Think outside the box and see those things that we weren't ever able to see before. I'll do it for everybody, like my dad's business. I'll do it. As long as there's been injustice, people are willing to fight against it. And I promise I will use my words to resonate with millions and inspire action. Telling the truth, that's hope. Taking action, that's hope. What comes from us, the people, is always hope. Ida B. Wells is one of my favorite role models. I remember when I saw her statue down in Tennessee, I was like, wow. The way to right wrongs is to turn to the light of the truth upon them. And with everything that is going on in Texas, it's not just about, let me just expose all these people that are doing wrongs. No, what's wrong with what we, the people, are doing? What's wrong with the people are everybody who is in charge of Texas as well. They're also the people because they live here, and whatever rules, laws that they write, they have to obey as well. Testimonies, it's those small habits. It's how you spend your mornings. It's how you talk to yourself. It's what you read. It's what you watch. Who you share your energy with. Who has access to you. That's what's going to change your life. And that's what I hope that the leaders in Texas learn. Who are they giving themselves access to? Who are they sharing their energy with? What habits are they doing? What habits have they created that they're following every single day that has caused us to get where we are now here? Grow through what you go through. Mantente fuerte, por favor. Stay strong, regardless of what goes on. Let's see. I know I had something here that I wanted to read. Let me find out where it's at, because it talked about violence. Or what's left of it. That's right. And it doesn't matter if it's today. It doesn't matter if it's when you're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You just need to make sure that you protect you and keep that peace. That's what it's about. I might have shared this with you earlier on Dr. Martin Luther King and what he said. Let's see if it's here. Yes. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "In the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." And what I say about that is because of what I'm doing, and I'm willing to speak up here and not remaining quiet anymore. And I'm saying that silence is complicity. The saying suggests is that once injustice appears in the world, if you do not use your voice to speak against it, your silence is going to make you complicit with that injustice. And that's what Martin Luther King meant by that. In the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but we will remember the silence of our friends. And I don't want to be silent anymore. And I told you guys when we first started that I cannot stay quiet anymore. I refuse to continue to put up these walls. I know how to speak up when someone breaks my boundaries. You can read it on my face or you can listen to me in my words. But I get to choose. After all the awakening and the solitude that I faced, I promised to stand firm in my limits. I spoke out loud this year. I ensured that my boundaries are going to be respected. And I reminded myself that the violence in the present state of the world needs to stop. Wherever Texas is going, they need to understand, like Albert Einstein said, that the world organized force can be opposed only by organized force. If we continue to go forward and we were to end up in a revolution and end up in a war, the only thing that's going to come back to us is that same thing that we imposed on other people. I leave with you guys to remember to stay strong. Mantente fuerte, por favor. Thank you for joining today. And I look forward to the next episode and hearing what you have to say. Aw, look at all those hearts that I got. That makes me so happy. Thanks for joining, Bobby. I look forward to catching up with you soon. Have a good evening and have a beautiful day tomorrow at work. Keep that peace. Love you too. Thank you all for joining. Latina loving, living life and hashtag DLG, Daddy's little girl.